Welcome back to Grief Inspired. My name is Catherine McNulty, and I thought I would bring you out in the garden today because the day is just gorgeous and beautiful. And sometimes we all just need a change of scenery, don't you think? So today I want to talk about a section of my grief journal that is really the place where we start in the journal. And it says what emotions are surfacing today and to observe what is. So there's this amazing concept about observing our emotions, observing our feelings, observing what's happening to us. And sometimes our lives are so busy, or there's so much going on, or we're spending so much time trying to avoid what we're actually feeling that we don't take the time to stop. We don't take the time to stop and observe. And so that's something that I want to encourage you to do today. Stop and observe how you are feeling. And in the grief journal, which I'm hoping you have by now, there are lots of different options. So as you know, the emotions of grief can be very overwhelming. There can be a lot of them. There can be ones that you've never experienced before. They can come at you without warning. They can leave you feeling very uncertain and unsafe. And particularly in this world that we're living in, that level of unsafety and uncertainty, I think in this day and age is even more heightened than it was when I was going through, the earliest stages of my grief more than 10 years ago. And so I think that makes it a little bit harder. So the idea today is to just take a moment and to observe what is. Observe the emotions that are coming up for you. So in the book, there are lots of options to choose from. These are certainly not all of the ones that you could choose, but you could be in the earliest stages of grief. You could be in shock. You could be in denial. You could feel numb and not be feeling a lot of emotions. And sometimes people say, well, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I'm not crying yet. I'm not feeling intense emotions. And yes, you could be feeling numb. And that's part of the process of grief because your mind wants to keep you safe. And your mind doesn't want you to get a flood of all of the serious emotions all at once because that wouldn't be good for you. And your brain literally is designed neurobiologically to keep you safe. There are other ones. You could be lonely. So many of us, I know I was lonely in grief. You could have anger. You could be fearful. You could feel a sense of panic about what is happening or what you think is going to happen, or maybe what already has happened. You could just feel exhausted. The thing that has been coming up for me lately, just in life in general, is that because of the state of the world and the way things are, I think we are all mentally exhausted to begin with. And I think when you add grief into the mix, it makes us even more mentally exhausted. Don't you think? Let me know. Drop a comment below if you are mentally exhausted. What else? You could be feeling guilt. Guilt is a very big one that a lot of people struggle with. You could be feeling confusion or betrayed. Or maybe things are starting to lift for you. Maybe you're starting to feel relieved that the funeral is over. Maybe you're relieved that everybody isn't asking you questions all the time about everything that's going on, and people aren't asking you every day, how are you, how are you, how are you? So all of these different emotions could potentially be coming up. You can find them all here. There's a spot if you have other emotions that are coming up. If there's something that I didn't mention, drop that below if that's what's showing up for you. And take a moment to, it says in the book, to observe what is. What observing is means taking stock, looking at it, but not judging it. So often we judge ourselves. I should be out of this depression by now. I shouldn't be so angry. I shouldn't feel so guilty anymore. We blame ourselves, we judge ourselves, we beat ourselves up for feeling the way that we do. And so today isn't about that. Today is just observing what is. And can you sit and say, today is a day where I am just really, really depressed, and be okay with it? And say, yes, of course I'm depressed. The person that I love the most is gone. Why wouldn't I be depressed? And just be okay with being depressed for today. And if your depression takes you to the point where you can't leave the house, takes you to the point where you don't get out of bed, okay, that's a different story. And we should talk about that, and you should let me know, and we can find a way to get you more support than what you have now. But being depressed and being sad is part of grief. Being angry is part of grief. Feeling guilty is part of grief. So can you take time today to just observe what it is that you're feeling and not judge it, and just be okay with it? And knowing what that is, asking yourself the question, how can I support myself? What do I need? What do I need today? That's another section in the journal. Taking a minute or two just to ask yourself, what do I need? Do I need to be with people? Do I need to be alone today? Do I need to just sulk? Do I need to just rest because I'm exhausted? Do I need to get outside? Do I need some movement, whatever kind of movement that is, because my body's starting to get stiff from inactivity? Those are the things I want you to focus on today. And it's a lot about taking care of yourself and observing what is and being okay with the process. Grief takes a long time, and you can get stuck in the middle and just say, is this ever going to end? And the answer is yes. The grief will lift, the clouds will lift, the darkness will lift, the sun will come out again. But sometimes you have to just be okay with what is. So let me know how you're doing today. Reach out to me at GriefInspired@gmail.com. Leave me comments below if this is helpful to you, if it gives you a new sense of safety, certainty, and being okay with what is. Then share it out. Let other people know. Let them benefit from what you're learning as part of this process. And as always, you are not alone in this. I am here with you. And just keep going. Just keep going. And you're doing great. You're doing great. Let's stop judging ourselves. Let's stop beating up ourselves and know that we can do this. That we can do this. We are often stronger than we think we are. And if you just hang in there, you may just be surprised how strong you really are. Bye for now.